Ohlins steering dampener. Didn't really see many videos of people installing this, so I wanted to show just a quick look at what it looks like. Comes in a pretty small box. Pretty straightforward how to assemble this, pretty clear on the instructions, and gives torque values and everything, and it feels way better than anything you'll get off eBay. What's currently installed is this cheap eBay one, which uses a very similar system. You can see it's leaking all its hydraulic fluid. This one has already been rebuilt. When I first got this, it didn't really work well at all because the viscosity of the fluid inside was just not very, it was way too viscous. So I basically tore it down, added some hydraulic fluid, and that stiffened it up a lot and made it actually useful. All right, got the eBay one here and the Ohlins down here for the R6. Just looking at a couple of the components. They're not, they look pretty similar actually. I mean, pretty similar sizes. I mean, you can tell the machining on the Ohlins is a little bit better, maybe a little higher quality grade aluminum, but they both feel aluminum. I think obviously the biggest difference is just going to be the seals and this, you know, the chamber itself compared to this. And obviously this failed after about a year, and it was pretty crappy, and then I rebuilt it and the seals are failing again. But really, overall, the build quality of the other components aren't that much drastically better on the Ohlins. Overall, I mean, I was kind of thinking some of these would be steel components, but I mean, maybe they don't need to be. So overall, like better quality for sure, but I mean, this was like $130 and this is $600. So personally, I mean, going back, I probably would just get this. The only reason I got this is at this time I had the money and I've been wanting to just have a really solid steering stabilizer. But honestly, for everyone else, I would get this, and you probably are going to have to drain the oil and redo the seals, which requires some pretty special parts. I know with this, I had to get like needle nose and stick it in here to take that stuff apart. So you may not be able to do that. And it took me a while to get the valving right. You have to like fill it a certain way and like seal it a certain way for it to work right. So, but honestly, if you don't have the money for the Ohlins, still 100% on a R6, you have to have a steering stabilizer. So I mean, I would still recommend getting the eBay one and just putting some thicker hydraulic fluid. And I mean, mine held up great for about a year or two before it started leaking again. And honestly, if I probably pulled this apart and rebuilt it and replaced like $10 of O-rings, I could probably get it to work fine again. I mean, if you have the money, sure, go for the Ohlins, but yeah, just my 2 cents on it. Some pretty good installation instructions, but just as a quick overview, it comes with some shims. This is how that's supposed to go. It's got this piece underneath, then the Teflon looking piece, and then the washer. This just directly bolts that onto the bracket down there. There's a slot that's very important to stick in. Mine already has it because of the old one. Then this bolt. So these shims, what you'll do with those little shims is once you install this and torque it to 100 Newton meters, and another thing I would recommend when you do this, before you torque it, make sure your front tire's on the ground. Loosen these 2 screws right here because you already loosened this one side. Torque this guy right here to 100 Newton meters, then re-torque those 2. The reason is it's very important to have a clamp on that bearing. So you want to torque that and then torque these 2. And then once you have this down, you basically push down the fuel tank and stick as many shims in under there as you can before you torque that top bolt.